writers and to a degree actors in the last 10, 15 years. It's the advent of streaming.
Chat question. Chat. I saw on Twitter Hassan reacting to clips of that are on Kick with full band streamers. How can you do that? Are you allowed to do that now? To watch full-on VODs of people that are banned? Like, I don't get it.
Television.
One of the first streaming original shows was House of Cards. Spoiler alert, when they pushed Kate Mara in front of that train, it seemed like groundbreaking television. And it was fast-paced, and it looked beautiful, and it had huge stars.
Artistically, it's opened up the world. Maybe there used to be 80 shows in a year. Now you're up to 500, 550 shows in a year. And for writers, it was good because it gave people entry.
And a lot of those people were diverse young voices who Hollywood said, oh, you should come out to move to LA or New York, places where the cost of living is extremely high and you have a seat at the table that for years created careers for people. Now, it doesn't exist like that anymore.
What's the difference between a network show and a streaming show? Network is the TV we all grew up with, ABC, NBC, CBS. And it's the season that begins in September and runs 22 episodes and ends in May. That's a season, especially for procedurals that everyone knows, like Grey's Anatomy or CSI. TV seasons always began in September. And that had something to do with auto sales, by the way. The new car seasons came out and they were going to advertise heavily, so you wanted new TV.
The network model worked for a very long time and gave people a...
I feel like he dumbed that down so much, I don't even know what the fuck is the relevance. If you get a car, you want a new TV?
Stable career.
I broke in on Law & Order Criminal Intent. I was on staff there 4 years, became showrunner there. So you get paid by the episode or by the week.
Ads.
So you'll make $15,000, and I thought that was it. I didn't know they meant for every episode. I didn't understand what I'd stumbled into. So I was able to make a living, start raising a family in New York. I think those doors have closed now. So the upside of streaming creatively was you didn't have to worry about commercial breaks.
Hold on, I'm watching this, hold on.
We have 5 commercial breaks in an hour of TV. Something has to happen at the end of that act to make sure people come back. Your writing has to conform to the advertising that pays for it. If you write for streaming, you don't have to worry about commercial breaks. You get to write a different structure. Maybe it's just an organic 3-act structure to an hour. Now you're down to 8-episode runs, 6-episode runs. Shorter seasons where you could arc a story across 8 episodes. You can go a little darker, you can go a little deeper. That part of it was great, and writers from movies flocked to it, and novels flocked to it.
But as the episode orders
this is good though.
Shrunk, what used to be 40 weeks out of the year that you were working is now 20 weeks. So try having to go from finding 1 job a year to finding multiple jobs a year to maintain the same status quo that you previously had. It's tough.
I don't think anyone's asking to go back to 20-episode seasons, but the stability and the longevity of those jobs is the model that we're asking for and that we think is best for writers.
Wait. Okay, so, no, it's not that you need multiple jobs. Wait, you can have the same job, you just have to find people that, and then you have to orchestrate, you have to schedule it, right? But at the same, it's the same workload.
And best for the product.
No?
Could you explain what's changed?
I mean, on paper, it's the same workload if you work the same amount of hours.
The function of the writer's room is the exact same. Like, it is a group of writers coming together to break story, to craft a season, and to write episodes of television. When you get your first job writing on a TV show, you're almost always a staff writer, which is the lowest level in the room, and then the next rung on the ladder is story editor, from story editor to executive story editor,
Yes, the one job is shorter, right? But if you have 3 of them and you layer them, it ends up being the same workload. It's segmented. That's all, right?
Producer, supervising producer, co-executive producer, and then executive producer is the highest in showrunner, obviously.
The creative process is people coming together, having a conversation about, is it a dark comedy? Is it 1 hour? Is it a half hour?
Breaking story and really writing your whole season. The next phase is production, when you bring all of your crew together, bring all of your actors, grab your directors, and you shoot the TV show. And then the final stage is post-production, when you take that thing you shot, you sit with your editor.
Okay, wait a minute.
Turn it into what people see on TV.
Okay,
Broadcast.
chat. I don't want to sound like I'm entitled or like or that I'm saying the problems are nothing. But isn't it the same for people who do camera work, everything else? Like people who do camera work, like aren't they showing up on the job and getting the same, if not even less hours than before? Like if there's less episodes, whatever, there's less film, so there's less filming. So that same applies to these guys that use the camera. So where's their strike?
Shows kind of used to be the entire TV space. So if you were on a show like Law & Order SVU, or if you were on a show like Friends, your show was being filmed, it was in production concurrently while you were in the writer's room.
Writers are going back and forth and really learning the ropes of what it is to produce a TV show. You know, and it might be in the moment when you're watching a scene and an actor might come up to you and say like, this line just isn't working for me. The job of the writer at that moment is to talk to the actor, figure out what isn't working, and write them a new line.
The writer is working with the actor at all times.
Okay, check. If the space changes and the system, the infrastructure changes, right? Then, I mean, what was the solution? I don't know. It's still freelance.
Character.
People have to
He's
adapt.
meeting the actor that was cast.
No.
And should be there when that actor is giving life to those words.
Financially, of course it would cost studios to keep writers on and to pay those extra weeks to keep doing their job. It seems like their favorite place to cut the budget is with writers, robbing them of creativity and robbing them of people training up to be the showrunners of future shows.
Writers are now being separated from...
Wait, that makes no sense at all. Wait, I'm so confused. So you're telling me that everything shortens, but that only affects the writers. How does that not affect the camera crews? How does these, if these guys have less to work, how does that not affect them? I don't. He said it does, but only them are getting cut.
Favorite place to cut the budget is with writers, robbing them of creativity and robbing them of people training up to be the showrunners of future shows.
Writers are now being separated from production, employed for fewer weeks.
Fewer weeks means less income. And when a show like Game of Thrones costs so much money and takes so much time to make, that's a longer period of time between seasons. And so that means these writers have a longer period of time before they are employed again.
Story-wise, there is something nice.
Wait, so if there's 500 shows, then I'm sure there's other job opportunities they can fill to make that gap up. If you know for a fact your job ends here and you have no job for all of this, can't they make sure they have another block right there and just bing, bing, bing as best as they can? I mean, what? But that's not 3 jobs. That's still 1 full-time job. It just
about
one after the other.
Having all of your episodes written before you start to produce. It really gives you a nice scope of the season. You know where all your locations are going to be, and if something happens in the last episode of your season.
I'm so confused. Bro, this is like contractual work / contractor / being a freelancer. That's how these people make ends meet. This is their job description, is to adapt and be able to make it work. It's part of not having to deal with all the rest of the bullshit about the other jobs have, right? No, I don't get it. Am I confusing?
That you realize there's a nice way to plant early in the season. You can go and play with that episode. On the other hand, not having your writers continue to be there and do the work that happens in production hurts the production and it hurts the writers. There
was this staff writer who was on The Bear, which is a streaming show on Hulu, and he had a story about how...
Fuck it, last pause. Okay, then what you guys are asking me then is that technically, if you think this is evil, then I'm evil too then. Because I employ some guy to make emotes for me, right? And I stopped for months because we don't need any new emotes, right? Because